what I would start with, I'd say, okay, well, what do I want as my major element in this container? And what I would start out with for this one, I'm going to use an eggplant, okay? I love eggplants. I don't necessarily like eating them that much, but this is one of those things that as a floral designer, I use them in floral work all the time. And there's tons of different ones to use, out there to use. There's ones that are real long and purple. There's ones that are round and white. There are all kinds of interesting colors for the eggplant. So as far as an ornamental and something that you can actually cut off and take into the kitchen and use, you know, if you're into that eggplant parmesan thing, and you know that's perfect for you. If we're going to do container gardening, we're going to be going to buy a soilless mix. A soilless mix is one that mainly has peat and vermiculite, perlite. It's not like the soil that you dig into at home, okay? It's light, it's airy, it drains well. It's the perfect thing that you're going to grow in for a container like this size, all right? So I'm going to start with my eggplant. And remember, because I'm doing a container here, these things get large. Remember, they look small right now, and I'm just as bad as the other person. When I put these things together, I always want them to look perfect that day. You know, it's like, oh, they're coming over tonight for dinner. I want it to look perfect. You know, so I stuff them full, right? We stuff them full. And then what happens in a month? They're all shading each other out, and one's, you know, like down in there, and oh, help me, I can't grow. There's no sun. You know, so anyway, we're gonna think about that a little bit, all right? So we're gonna put this. We're gonna think, okay, this one eggplant. We're gonna put him right here, and he's, you know, eggplants. They can get that big, right? Okay, these big old leaves, right? So we're going to have to think about that. Are we going to, you know, this thing could have the potential of doing some shading out. So anyway, we're going to use this eggplant here. Now, I'm always going to look for an element that's going to flow over the edges. And so what I also want to do is I want to make the best use of the space that I have around me that has nothing to do with the container. So, for example, if I have this beside the front porch, right, I'm going to have some areas beside the front porch, like some steps down, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this watermelon in here, okay? Because what I know is that this watermelon, when put in here, is not really going to take up much room in the container. It's not going to take up much square footage here. What it's going to do is it's going to come over the edge, and it wants to trail down, and so it's going to fill some space right here. So what it does is it enlarges your experience, right? Then I'm going to look for some other things that would add some interest to this container and would then give me a nice experience. So I'm going to go ahead and use some herbs in here. These would be things that are going to go ahead and not require much care. Well, I won't take that out either. And I can plant this right next to this watermelon, and there are several reasons why I would do that. And this is a creeping thyme that's going to kind of go over the edge. It's going to soften it a little bit, right? It's going to make it look like it's been here for a while, okay? But also look at this, the texture of this herb against the texture of the watermelon. That's really cool. That's a nice little combination. A bold texture against a very fine texture. So, you know, even if you're talking about greens, the idea that the textures do make a big difference in how you're putting these things together, that's the major thing to be thinking about, because this container's not about the flowers. Although, granted, when the eggplant gets up here like this, it'll have flowers, it'll have the little purple flowers, and it'll also have the fruits that are elongating, you know, real long, and so that'll be pretty, okay? And then, let's take a look at this. This is that golden thyme, and notice it has that sort of golden color in it, and look how that looks against that. Ooh, ooh. Very good, people, very good. I've trained you well over the years, have I not? Yes. Okay. So we're gonna put that right here, and again, you know, this is not a situation where this thing is going to be so much of a pig that it's not going to allow for any sunshine in this area. And what I also do is I'm checking these every so often as I'm looking at them, and I say, okay, if you are getting bigger than I want you to, I'm just going to chop your little leaf off right there, because I want to make sure you got enough room to grow and you got some light coming through, okay? So